The Zephyrian High Command had never encountered a species quite like humans. Their latest intelligence report sat on Admiral Kekstar's desk, describing a single human holding an entire mining colony against impossible odds. "Send the Crimson Talons," he ordered, his voice dripping with certainty. "One human cannot possibly stand against our elite." Little did he know, he was about to witness the most spectacular miscalculation in galactic history. Captain Jake "Bulldog" Morrison crouched behind a makeshift barricade of mining equipment, sweat beading on his forehead as he watched the sleek Zephyrian dropships descend through the red dust of Kepler 442b. The colony's evacuation had been chaotic, leaving him as the sole defender of the quantum mining facility that powered half the sector's defenses. His commanding officer had called it a suicide mission, but Jake had simply shrugged and said, "Someone's got to stay behind and turn off the lights." The facility's automated defenses were down, the communications array was fried, and he was armed with nothing but his standard-issue rifle, a few grenades, and the kind of stubborn determination that had made humans the galaxy's most unpredictable wildcards. The Crimson Talons emerged from their ships like liquid death, their black armor gleaming in the alien sunset. These weren't ordinary soldiers, they were the Zephyrian Empire's most feared special forces, genetically enhanced warriors who had conquered 17 worlds without losing a single battle. Their leader, Commander Zefkol, activated his neural translator and broadcast across all frequencies, "Human, you are surrounded by forces beyond your comprehension. Surrender now, and your death will be swift." Jake's response crackled through the comm system, "Well, that's mighty generous of you, but I've got a counteroffer. How about you boys pack up your fancy toys and head on home before this gets embarrassing?" The Talons exchanged glances. No species had ever spoken to them with such casual disrespect. "Your bravado will not save you," Zefkol replied coldly. "We have studied your kind. Humans are weak, emotional, and prone to panic under pressure." That's when Jake did something that would become legend across the galaxy. He reached into his pack, pulled out a bottle of Earth whiskey, and took a long swig. Then he turned to his helmet camera, still broadcasting to the evacuated colonists, and said the words that would echo through space stations and military academies for centuries, "Hold my beer." The battle that followed defied every tactical manual ever written. Jake didn't fight like a soldier, he fought like a cornered animal with nothing left to lose. He used the mining facility's industrial equipment as weapons, turning ore processors into projectile launchers and fusion cutters into devastating energy weapons. "You can't possibly know how to operate that machinery," Zefkol shouted as a modified excavator came crashing through their formation. "Son, I've been jury-rigging death traps since I was 12, Jake replied, his voice steady despite the chaos. "My daddy always said, if it ain't broke, you ain't using enough force." He triggered a series of controlled explosions in the mine shafts, using the facility's own layout against the invaders. The Talons found themselves trapped in a maze of collapsing tunnels and improvised traps. As the elite squad's numbers dwindled, their confidence cracked. "This is impossible," one Talon whispered. "He's just one human." But Jake had already moved to his next position, using his intimate knowledge of the facility to stay 3 steps ahead. "The thing about humans," he said over the comm, "is we're too stupid to know when we're beat." The climax came when Zefkol cornered Jake in the main reactor chamber. The Talon commander was wounded, his perfect armor cracked and smoking. "You fight without honor," he snarled. "Your tactics are chaotic, illogical." Jake grinned, his face streaked with dirt and blood. "That's the beauty of it, partner. You can't predict crazy." He had spent the last hour rigging the reactor's cooling system to overload. "See, you made one crucial mistake. You assumed I was trying to win this fight." His finger hovered over the detonation switch. "But sometimes, the best victory is making sure the other guy loses too. You would destroy yourself to defeat us." Zefkol's voice carried a note of genuine confusion. "Mister, I'm not just fighting for this rock. I'm fighting for every human who's ever been told they can't do something." Jake's eyes blazed with determination. And sometimes, the only way to prove a point is to go out in a blaze of glory that folks will remember long after the smoke clears. The explosion that followed could be seen from orbit. When the rescue ships arrived 3 days later, they found the mining facility in ruins and the Crimson Talon's dropships scattered like broken toys. But Jake Morrison had done more than just hold his ground. He had saved the quantum core, ensuring the sector's defenses remained intact. More importantly, he had sent a message that reverberated through every corner of Zephyrian space: humans were not to be underestimated. Admiral Kekstar received the battle report with shaking hands. His elite squad had been neutralized by a single human who had literally held a beer while planning their destruction. The report concluded with Jake's final transmission, broadcast moments before the explosion: "Tell your high command that humanity sends its regards. And next time, maybe send more than one squad." The Zephyrians never again made the mistake of underestimating human ingenuity, but they also never forgot the lesson Jake Morrison taught them. In the words of their military historians, the humans do not fight to win, they fight to ensure their enemies remember the cost of challenging them.